Yo, what is up guys, today we're doing something more Red Dead 2.
Actually keep him hogtied on the back of my horse
Today we're
to
just
see what would
trying to
happen.
complete
So I slowly started to creep into the
because I
boundary
actually want
of
to finish
Beecher's
the game.
Hope, and then I
Because I
lost
want
my
to
minimap.
beat John Marston, because I'm getting bored of now.
And what happened next was
We got a letter.
I got a notification on the screen that said you were unable to bring prisoners into camp. So the game treats Beecher's Hope.
I suspect it's from Mary.
However, something different happened when the guy tried to escape. So when he tried to escape, I tried to hogtie him, and I got another notification on my screen that says you're unable to fire weapons around ranch grounds. Move further away to a safe distance. So I didn't know that. And apparently that includes hogtying as well, because I could not re-hogtie this guy. Like every time I tried to hogtie him, for whatever reason, he was able to punch and fight his way out. Even though that was interesting, I certainly thought that was a little bit disappointing. However, this is where things start to get very, very interesting. Our Skinner brother started running around the property of Beecher's Hope, and eventually he found himself a little hole in the fence, and he actually started wandering on the property. So not only did he start wandering on the property, but then he started heading towards the main ranch home. And I thought to myself, this is great. All the experiments I wanted to try are going to get to test themselves out. And he started heading towards like Jack and Abigail and Rufus. And at first I thought nothing was going to happen. Jack really didn't move, Rufus didn't move. And then Abigail like flips a switch. She goes from like normal mom mode to angry mom mode. And she starts running after the Skinner brother, trying to punch him. That is absolutely hysterical. I did not know that that would happen. She chases him all the way up here. Now, I think the Skinner brother was ultimately a little too fast for her. She wasn't able to catch up with him completely. And so what I did was I actually tackled the Skinner brother to the ground. And this gave Abigail the chance to throw the knockout blow. Abigail literally killed the Skinner brother. That is hysterical. Now, after she did that, I was hoping there would be some sort of unique conversation or interaction that you could have with her. Unfortunately, there is none. She just simply walks away and returns to her life like nothing even happened. Now, what's also kind of strange is you're unable to pick up the body of the Skinner brother, which means it's just going to be left there to rot. So I'm not sure why they won't allow you to pick it up. I guess so you like can't bring it inside your ranch or do something trolly like that. But that was kind of interesting. I did not expect that at all. I thought that Abigail and the other NPCs were going to stand there and let this guy run all over their ranch. No, she was not having that at all. She ran up to that guy and gave him a Floyd Mayweather knockout blow. So that was really cool. Didn't expect that at all. Now, because that happened, I wanted to try another experiment. I wanted to see if that would be the only time in which something like that would happen. So I ended up looking for another person that we could potentially bring onto the ranch. And this time, instead of actually bringing them via horseback, I wanted to bring them on my back. So, same thing. Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boston for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be finding out what happens if you bring a legendary animal back to camp. So this is something that a lot of you guys have asked me to try. I have got tons of messages on Facebook saying, Mr. Boston, what everyone says. So I wanted to try this for myself to see if we could get some interaction, some lines of dialogue, and if you would like me to try similar experiments like this, maybe I'll try it with a legendary fish, or maybe I'll try it as John Marston in the epilogue, bringing it back to Beecher's Hope. Let me know in the comments down below, reach out to me on my Facebook page, and make sure you support this video with a like rating. If this video gets a lot of support, then I'll definitely be encouraged to try more experiments. Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be finding out what happens if you choose the wrong side when being introduced to Captain Hayden.
it was a better lot for women, and they killed her, those pigs. I don't know. My cousins, probably, or both. You met them there. Animals. Not even animals. Monsters. Monsters of God, and lost all of... I'm in your hands. Just get me to Rhodes Railway Station.
Okay, let's try to get you a train. Bo's just waiting at the station in the hope you'll show up, or I'll show up to help you show up.
He goes to there every day he can. Makes up some excuse or other. I said he would see me there one day soon, and today he will. God willing.
Well, if he's there, that's true love, all right.
I've hardly seen him since the rally. They watch me so carefully, and he's waited, or so his letters say. My families won't let us out. And then all that business with Aunt Catherine and my cousins. You saw the house. And then Lee Ray and those boys killed. So much bloodshed. You'd think this would be a new beginning, but everyone left alive. They're even more angry.
Maybe here's a complicated thing to let go of.
Something good has to come out of this awful, awful feud.
That's what I've been hoping.
Bo and I have to be better. Our families were here for years and years. Sometimes I feel like we can't just leave death and pain and murder.
So like I have Jim Boy Calloway's gun, Granger's gun, Midnight's pistol, and Flacco's pistol. All except for Black Bell. For all the hunters and the gunslingers. And I killed all of them. Flacco's was probably the highest skill because that way straight if you would jump.
He's kind and he's caring and he's strong. There he is. It's him. Will you ride on the train with us, Welch? To the first stop?
I'm not sure I've been right. I'm right here. I need to drink time.
Excuse me, y'all. Get on the train. Get your bags, miss. I got this. Come here. With Leslie.
uncle used to say, things are better the way they were, when he could break and kill with impunity, and he had to work a day in his life.
There's good people in this county. Our family's bullied them and drove most of them off. Blacks and blacks. Oh, this is silly. You. Oh, my Lord.
I think it's my second cousin. They found out about Jules.
Keep your head down.
Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be talking about what really happened to Charles Smith at the end of the game and after the epilogue. So this is a character that you guys highly requested that I dive into and find out where he ultimately went. Because we don't see him in Red Dead Redemption, and after the end of the epilogue in American Venom, we don't ever hear from him. So a lot of you guys wondered, where did Charles Smith go? What happened to him? And is there a possibility we see him again? So before we can talk about where we went, let's get some background on Charles Smith first, because that might help us out with our story. So Charles Smith was born to an African-American father and a Native American mother, and he became one of the most recent additions to the Van der Linde gang, only joining about 6 or 7 months before the start in Chapter 1. So Charles has not been with the gang for very long. That's kind of important. Charles goes on to state throughout the game that he and his father lived with his mother's tribe until the U.S. Army drove them away. His mother was captured by soldiers a couple of years later and was never seen again. And his father fell into a depression and became an alcoholic. And at the age of 13, Charles ran away and wandered the country before joining other gangs and eventually the Van der Linde gang in late 1898. And in case you guys want some background on what Charles's family is like, you can find this photo of his father, his mother, and him as like a very tiny baby. So you can see what sort of background Charles has. His father was African American, his mother was Native American, and he is sort of a mix in between. So that's the family life of Charles right there. And obviously he had a tough childhood, his mother being taken away by the army, and his father falling into depression and becoming an alcoholic. Now, if you guys are wondering if Charles Smith is still loyal to his tribe, well, in Chapter 1, when the gang is actually heading to Horseshoe Overlook and they're actually repairing one of the wagons, Charles points out that he doesn't know if he even has a tribe. Because he ran away at the young age of 13, he never really became associated with an Indian tribe. That's why he sort of wandered around and went from gang to gang before eventually landing with Dutch, Arthur, and Hosea. However, and this next bit is important, that is why I think we see Charles so heavily involved with the Wapiti Indians, particularly Eagle Flies and Rains Falls. And you also might wonder where Charles went after Chapter 6 and towards the final mission of the game. Because as you guys know, Charles is not a part of the final mission, Red Dead Redemption. He's somewhere else. Well, you might be wondering where that is. Well, in one of the final missions of the game, My Last Boy, Charles effectively leaves the gang, opting to stay at the reservation to help the Wapiti Indians in getting away from the army. So that makes a lot of sense, that Charles would help the Wapiti Indians, he's associated with them, he feels their pain, and this would also explain why when he later returned to Roanoke Ridge, he found the bodies of Arthur and Susan Grimshaw, which is why he was responsible for burying them. So he literally came back to camp to find nothing there other than Arthur dead and Miss Grimshaw dead. Now, we don't know how long that was. One can only assume that it was likely a couple of days or maybe a week at most. And then we don't see Charles until Epilogue Part 2, where Uncle and John learn that after all of these years, he is alive and in Saint Denis. So he clearly didn't leave the area of Red Dead Redemption 2. He was in the South, and he essentially became like a boxer, which obviously is pretty cool. And as you guys know, Charles stays with John and Sadie at Beecher's Hope, and he eventually helps John build the ranch and then find Micah in the final mission of the game, American Venom. Now, in that mission, Charles actually reveals what he wants to do and how he wants to live the rest of his life after they find and kill Micah. Take a listen to this.
You interested in bounty hunting, Charles? My last assistant was put out to pasture.
No, that work ain't for me. I think I might get out of here. Go north. Canada. Find a woman. Start a family, if I can. I see how that life... Well, I'd like to try it.
Woo-wee, John. You're giving him the family bug.
I thought we would have inspired him to a life of celibacy and isolation.
Okay, so as you guys saw there, Charles reveals that he wants to settle down in Canada and start a family of his own. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would Charles Smith want to go to Canada? Well, the reason for that is actually where the Wapiti Indians are located. So if you actually run into Rains Fall at the end of the game, he will tell you that the Wapiti Indians and their tribe have now moved to Canada.
Hello? Didn't I meet you a long time ago? I don't know. Was Arthur? Arthur Morgan? Oh, yes. My name is Rangefall. And I'm Jim Milton. John Marston. Oh. Is Arthur, he passed away a long time ago. Oh, I'm sorry. He saved my life. He gave his. That doesn't surprise me one bit. And you? I know you had tough times. Well, my people aren't really a tribe. They're just a bunch of families, I suppose. But we're in Canada now. It's, what are you doing here? I don't really know. My son, I suppose. Oh, he fell. I know. I'm sorry. I've got a son. I'm very sorry. Oh, it was a long time ago now. Well, it's good to see you, Mr. Marston. And you?
So I guess that would make sense. Charles Smith built up a relationship with the Wapiti Indians. He helped them escape from the U.S. Army,
And he knows that they're in Canada and that he knows he would have a home there and that there would be friendly people for him to ultimately live with. Now, as you guys know, in the final mission of the game, American Venom, Charles gets shot in the right shoulder, but he does eventually help Sadie and John take out Micah. And then in the cutscene credits of the game, we can actually see Charles attending John and Abigail's wedding, and eventually he will give his farewells to the Marston family, Uncle and Sadie, and he leaves the ranch. And even though his fate is uncertain, I think we can assume based off of what he said, he went to Canada and has probably started raising a family there on his own. And that would explain why we don't see him in Red Dead Redemption, and it also explains why we probably didn't hear from him afterwards in any newspaper articles or anything like that. If you're raising a family, you're likely going to be staying out of trouble and away from the law. Now, I have seen people report that Charles Smith has actually returned to Beecher's Hope after the final mission, American Venom. I can only assume this is a glitch because even the lines of dialogue that you can have with him when he does that all have to do with finding Micah, which already happened at this point. So I definitely think that it is a glitch, but either way, I do think that's kind of interesting that he does return to Beecher's Hope. So now the big question is, will we ever see Charles Smith going forward in the future? I think the answer is unlikely, especially because we don't hear from him in Red Dead Redemption and because of his story. So he's going to Canada, likely to live with the other Indians, and he wants to raise a family. That doesn't exactly sound as if that's the most exciting thing that Rockstar could do for a story expansion, if they were to do that. Sadie Adler's story sounds far more exciting. You know, running protection for a gold mine in South America. That sounds really interesting. You know, having Family Time Simulator with Charles Smith doesn't really sound all that exciting. However, maybe Charles would have trouble settling down and we could actually explore his new life in Canada. I can only imagine it would be incredibly snowy, and that was a really fun part of Red Dead Redemption 2 that I don't think Rockstar explored enough of outside of Chapter 1, the snow and the grizzlies and the Ambarino Mountains. So I do believe that would be really cool, but I think it's safe to say that Charles' story is likely over. I think Rockstar wanted to hint to us that he sort of gets the happily ever after ending where he survives, he goes to Canada, and likely finds a woman and starts a family. But anyways, that's what really happens to Charles Smith after you beat Red Dead Redemption 2. We don't ever hear from him again. You don't see him in newspapers. He never returns. He's likely in Canada and is likely just starting a family. But anyways, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think really happened to Charles Smith in the comments, or you can reach out to me on my Facebook page. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
If you want to make it as a guitarist, there are rules to follow. Always hold your instrument proper.
Nothing wrong with me. We don't need them. We got sloppy in the town. Who we are, where we are. Way I see, best thing we can do is let the people move on, get our money, start over. That ain't happening. Well, something's gonna happen. Fast. Otherwise, painting tins, they've got to be in. Nothing to stop. The Lord wonders why we're here. Shall we? Yeah, it's time to go. Let's head to the river. He ain't.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be finding out what happens if John tries to revisit the cliff in which the wolves actually attack him in Chapter 1. This actually occurs in the second mission of the game, which we'll get to in a little bit. So about a week ago, I posted a video where we return to the cliff where Micah actually kills Arthur at the very end of the game as John. I was hoping to visit to see if there would be a cutscene that would occur, or if John would say something where he, remembers Arthur, like we've seen countless other times in Red Dead Redemption 2. And a lot of the comments you guys left in that video wanted me to check out this cliff. And I was like, you know what? I've actually never been back to this. It would be cool to see if John actually does something. So in case you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, which unless you haven't played past the second mission, I'm sure you do. But anyways, it's the second mission of the game where essentially John Marston has gone missing and Abigail requests that you go out and find him.
He ain't been seen in days. Weather ain't let up. He's strong and he's smart. Strong at least. Hello, Arthur.
Abigail?
Arthur, how you doing?
Just fine, Abigail. You?
I need you to... I'm sorry to ask, but...
It's little John. He's got himself caught into a scrape
He
again.
ain't been seen in two days.
Your John will be fine. I mean, he may be as dumb as rocks and as dull as rusted iron, but that ain't changing because he got caught in some snowstorm.
Please go take a look. Javier? Yes. Javier, will you ride out with Arthur to take a look for John? You're the two best fit men we've got.
Now?
We're pretty worried about it. I know. The situation were reversed. You look for me.
Thank you.
This way. Last I know, John was headed up the river.
For all we know, he kept riding north and never looked back.
He wouldn't leave. Not like that.
Well, wouldn't be the first time.
Hey, I see some smoke. Come on, let's take a look.
Let's hope it ain't more of O'Driscoll's boys.
Well...
That way. Okay, so several points throughout my journey onto the mountain, I end up pausing.
Do you like open worlds? Do you like exploring cool places, epic quests, and escaping to somewhere new? Keep watching.
Where I am on the map. So we actually start at the very top point, the most northern part of the map, right above the ocean. And we sort of continue on, and again, ever so often, I will open up my map and I will check where we are. It seems as if we are heading southwest. And I was thinking to myself, you know, so far so good. Everything looks like, you know, we are in the boundary of the map, which is great news. We're going to be able to revisit this place. However, in one part in particular, I noticed that we had actually gone outside of the map. As you guys can see here, you can see where Javier's sort of yellow dot is and where our little icon is. It looks like we actually went outside of the map and then went back in. So I was getting a little bit more skeptical to see if we could actually reach this location in free roam. As we continued on even further, I opened up the map again, and you can see we are in this like northwestern quadrant of the map, but everything is within like dashed black lines. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're going to be good to go here. We'll be able to get back up here in free roam. And then you eventually reach the top of the mountain where you get off on horse and you sort of have to travel by foot. And once again, I end up checking out where we are once we sort of reach near John Marston. And again, we are well within the map boundary. And then of course you find John Marston sort of on the edge of this mountain right here, and this cutscene occurs.
You got there. I thought I'd say this to see you, Arthur Morgan. I don't feel too good. Freezing. Don't die just yet, cowboy.
So Javier says something interesting on the way out. He says, hopefully this way will lead us down because they have to take a different route down. And again, I checked a couple of times and we still seem to be within the boundaries of the map. So I was feeling really good about eventually being able to visit this location in free roam. And of course you bring John back down the mountain and you get him inside the cabin where he is thanked profusely by the rest of the gang members, and especially Abigail.
Oh, you guys saw that? You saw that Michael's being a rat?
Hey, careful, it's not that, it's his leg.
Come on, let's get
live.
Thank you both.
Yeah, I said after that I was live. That's it, I like this one.
luck. Have you got any other lost babes in these tapes? Not today. You and Dutch talk about having a good one.
My
This discussion with Terrace Valley when the weather breaks. I suppose we'll have to keep heading east. East? All it. I know. The west is where our problems are worse. Come on, Terrace Valley. Let's get warm. Thank you, Mr. Rocket.
Okay, so now that you've seen that, let's see if we can get to this cliffside in free roam, because I'd be very interested to go back again to see if we can gather any more details, if John says anything, if we can find the remains of his dead horse, which of course we saw up there. So what I did is I started in the exact same location where that mission began, sort of at the very top of the glacier, and I traveled in the exact same direction to the southwest. However, I noticed that things looked a little bit different, that I didn't necessarily run across that giant gorge. So I was a little bit discouraged by that. I was like, where is that? That's where I need to head toward. And immediately I noticed that the game was sort of pushing me a little bit further to the southeast than where we started that mission. That the glacier seems to be a little bit higher than that. However, in this case, we don't have the ability to get up there. So here's what I think has happened. Chapter 1 is a special chapter in Red Dead Redemption 2 because the map has actually restricted you. In chapters 2, 3, 4, and 6, you're free to go basically wherever you want. I mean, technically, I guess you could say New Austin and the area like Blackwater is cut off. I mean, you can still go there, you'll just be wanted dead or alive. Whereas, like in some other games, the whole map might not be available to you. But in Chapter 1, specifically, only the snowy area of the map is available. And the reason for that is because of a heavy snowfall, like an extremely cold winter season. And that cuts off access to the rest of the map. It also changes parts of the map that we go on to see later. Like, for example, snow extends much further down, and in the mountain, I think it would have been colder. Thus, maybe you had like an ice bridge that would allow you to go up there. Because I tried on horseback to get up so many different directions, but I was not having any luck. I mean, you guys can see I am at the final point until my horse just won't go up any further. Now, I'm sure that if you were somehow able to glitch outside of the map, and even this glitch we covered on the channel about maybe a month ago, I think it's actually been patched at this point because there's been a couple of updates that Rockstar have forced out. So I don't know if that exact same method will work, but I'm sure that if you were able to get outside of the map, this is an area that you could revisit. But as far as just doing it in standard free roam using no glitches, I don't think you're able to. Now, I was starting to lose hope until I found this one sort of segment of the mountain that looked very familiar. I think I actually found the cliff in which John Marston rests upon. It's right at this location right here, and you can sort of see the edge in which he would be sitting on, where Javier and Arthur actually rescue him. So I thought for a second, haha, I have found the correct spots, and now all I've got to do is traverse up and get there. And for a second, I was having a ton of success, and as I was getting closer, I was able to confirm that, yeah, that was definitely the cliff in which John Marston was sitting on, so that was good news. And I started walking my way up there, and I thought, man, you know, I'm going to be able to get up here. This is super cool. And then I took a couple more steps. I got back on my horse, and then I turned into a John Marston snowball. And I ended up literally rolling down like halfway down the mountain. I thought I was going to die for sure, but it turns out there is no way to get back up here, and that part of the mountain and that area of the map was literally used for one mission. And that to me is crazy. I don't know of any other mission in the game that uses a part of the map that we can't access in free roam other than the Guarma chapter. The Guarma chapter is an exception, but I'm pretty sure every other mission in every other chapter, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, you can find in free roam. This seems to be the only spot in the game. That's crazy. And I wonder why Rockstar did that. Maybe they thought it was too high up, that if players went here, they would get lost, or maybe it's just as simple as they were trying to show the progression of the game. How in Chapter 1 it was so cold, it was so frigid and snowing all the time, that it created this ice bridge or platform where they could access that area. But in the rest of the chapter 2, warmer and so on, that accessibility was no longer there, thus characters can't get up. I'm not sure if we'll ever get an answer why this area is restricted. I think we're going to have to wait until the game comes out on PC in order to be able to try something like this. You could use like a mod menu or a trainer to be able to bring John Marston up there. But for now, it is not possible, and it's so weird.
Sizable sheep grazes to the east of Cattail Pond, located a short line from Valentine. Like many of the legendary animals on this list, a rifle will kill the rat with the least fuss possible. We put ours in the ground with a shot to the heart, and then a second round to the head.
We're going to go to work at night. And we're going to hunt for the legendary fox.
Four, legendary white bison, Lake Isabella, Amberino. This beefy customer resides in the chilly climes of Lake Isabella to the north of Grizzly's west. Bison's clue trail usually spawns on the slopes near the frozen lake, so head over there and get hunting. A high-powered rifle is the way to go here, and should put it in the ground quite easily.